What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate each and every single one of you, as always, for coming by. Now, a lot has been happening in the crypto market. We've had a new executive order released yesterday, so there's several new pieces of legislation being introduced, and on top of everything that's happening in the Ukraine and other areas like that, I wanted to spend some time and really break down some things and honestly what those implications will be for you and I here in the crypto space, not only as crypto investors, but human beings living here on planet Earth. So without further ado, let's kind of dig into what's happening here. And I'm actually going to break down, I read the whole executive order. We won't go through it line by line, but there are definitely some key takeaways that's important to talk about. I'm sure you might have seen some of the stuff floating around here in the past day or so. So obviously, overall, I feel like it was pretty good. It wasn't as bad as some were expecting. Overall effect on the market hasn't been really a negative or deleterious at all. There's some main takeaways there of what it's doing is just trying to protect consumers' access, and it's essentially it's involving multiple federal agencies and giving them 180 days to generate and create a report. So all these different agencies will actually go over what agencies are involved, also what regulatory agencies are involved. And based on the executive order, there's going to be multiple branches. There's going to be the SEC, the CFTC, the OCC, and also the Federal Reserve. The OCC is the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency. So it's really good overall what it does, what it places on. Obviously, we know that CBDCs are here. They're here to stay. Now, we'll go through the bill here, or the executive order. Rather, there's also several other bills too that's important right now in the history, regardless of what side you lean politically. Not the point of this video. The point is, right now, it seems that we here in the crypto space, we have support on both sides of the aisle. There's people that want to get legislation done, so we have our chance to make an impact and actually get involved so that what is developed is actually going to be good for you and I and just, humanity as a whole. So there was a bill here released by U.S. Senator Loomis. Bill to integrate cryptos into financial systems is almost ready. Now, I haven't read this bill. Don't know exactly what's in there and what she's doing, but she's wanting to, on top of the executive order, of course, we've got her really being involved. And we know Wyoming is a huge proponent there of crypto. They have a lot of good laws there. Virginia, some other laws that really are giving it on a state by state, really giving and making it appealing rather for financial institutions, for cryptos to come to those states and be involved. And that's really smart politicians will be the ones that get behind crypto, right, and really push it because it's the way of the future. So it's going to just make it easier. Her bill is just going to make it easier. She put a comment here. I think the executive order misses the fact that the overwhelming majority of digital asset users are law-abiding and trying to make our financial system better. Of course, definitely agree with that. If he has any doubt, he should look to Wyoming, where digital assets are booming with a common sense, balanced regulatory framework. I agree. We want to have some, basic rules and protections in place, as robust as they need to be. Anyway, moving on there because there's some other stuff. We got our lovely Senator Warren here seizes on fear over crypto and sanctions with her new bill. So I wanted to kind of point this out as well. Now, we know Senator Elizabeth Warren is not as crypto friendly here. She's definitely, if you've listened to her, any of her hearings there, congressional hearings, she's definitely very caustic towards crypto. And, she's just trying to protect the interests of the people there at the top. According to a report Tuesday from NBC, one of the provisions of Warren's new crypto bill, still in a draft form, is going to require local crypto exchanges to submit detailed records to the Treasury Department of customers' identities and transfers to private crypto wallets. Okay, cool. You know what, though? In the future, though, what I'm looking forward to most is that all of these elites and stuff at the top, she's going to have to play by the same rules. So I want to make sure that we can track all of her transactions as well. And not only going forward, but I think we should be able to track all of her transactions going back to when she first was into office. So it's going to go both ways. If they're going to take our privacy away, I want to take all of theirs so they have nothing to hide either. I think that's fair. I think that's reasonable. We need to make sure that that wording is put in there so that those at the top are still going to be accountable for what they're doing. I don't want, if they're going to put these words and they're going to make it where no one has that privacy, they need to follow the same rules. It also aims to force companies to choose between doing business in the U.S. or with sanctioned people and entities by threatening secondary sanctions on foreign crypto exchanges. The Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, that's FinCEN, they're also working towards drafting similar requirements on Warren's bill. So we'll just see what actually happens. She's very against it. Most dangerous part of crypto is what she's called DeFi. And listen, there are definitely a lot of scams, but this is why we know a lot of these cryptos, coins, everything is going to be outregulated and washed away. So now more important than ever to pay attention and make sure that you're in on the right side of history. Make sure you're in the right assets for sure, because you don't want to be in something that's going to be banned. So all different branches here are going to be involved. We see here this was released here. Janet Yellen apparently made a comment. Well, the Treasury Department made a comment ahead of time. They released a comment and it was like, it was too early, so they had to pull it. But basically, the U.S. Treasury is going to be collaborating with interagency partners to develop a detailed report on the future of money and related payment systems in accordance with the executive order there. So, of course, we knew that they were going to be involved. Now, I saw this article. I thought this was interesting with what's everything that is going on, and then we're going to dig into this executive order more because it is important to know. Weaponizing the banking system is going to lead to a scramble for gold and crypto. Listen, I'm obviously a huge proponent of crypto, but precious metals have their place as well in the world, whether tokenized with Pax Gold and other Kinesis. We've talked about different platforms here that delve into that space, but really having the actual metal. So the regime change, he said, can force a wild scramble into stores of value outside the banking system, including gold, real estate, and even crypto. And guys, there's a lot of smart people, way smarter than me, that I follow, that are predicting gold, silver, other precious metals, nickel to really, in the type of market economy that we are in right now, where everything has been inflated for many years now, we are actually, compared to other asset classes, commodities, certain metals are way undervalued right now. And so I think what we're going to see is, with supply chain shortages, we're going to see more running towards commodities and things that actually hold value. So as inflation continues to go up and more money is printed, that money has to flow into things that are actually going to hold their value more. So we're going to see metals and others really start to go up with what's going on. Now, the main takeaways here, I've just basically sum up the entire executive order here. Go to my Twitter page. Give me a follow here on Twitter, trying to grow up my followers there. 6 key priorities of Joe Biden's executive order here. Basically, here's the 6 points. Consumer investor protection. We knew that was going to be one. Financial stability, illicit finance, U.S. leadership, financial inclusion, and responsible innovation. So the breakaway, the takeaway here, let's actually kind of go through what we'll skim through, and I'll show you some of the agencies that are going to be involved, who's going to be regulating it, really what they're doing. There's information in here that is very, very bullish, especially if you're in on any of the cryptos, XRP, XDC, Quant, any of the utility type tokens. This executive order is very exciting for. And it really does convince you that this is where the future is going. We must protect the United States and global financial stability and mitigate systemic risks. Some digital asset trading platforms and service providers have grown rapidly in size, so they're wanting to get rid of some that are, taking money out and scamming people, anything like that. So they're just going to make it easier for them to control. Now, we must reinforce United States leadership in the global financial system. These are just kind of the main takeaways here. Wanted to scroll down. Sovereign money, this is important. Sovereign money is at the core of a well-functioning financial system. They want to make sure macroeconomic stabilization, economic growth. My administration places the highest urgency on research and development efforts into the potential design and deployment options of a United States CBDC. These efforts should include assessment of possible benefits and risks for consumers, investors, and businesses, financial stability and systemic risk, payment systems, national security, and the ability to exercise human rights. financial inclusion and equity, and the actions required to launch United States CBDC if doing so is deemed to be in the national interest. So they're still saying it might not happen, but it definitely will be happening, right? You're not going to go through all this just to not have it. I think we already have it built on the back end, and we're just waiting for a time and a crisis to launch it. The United States CBDC may have the potential to support efficient, low-cost transactions, particularly for cross-border funds transfers, and to foster greater access to the financial system, right? Which is really what any of our utility cryptos, the ones that are building the new infrastructure, this is what they're dealing with. Now, within 180 days of this order, which is going to be September 5th, I want to say, September 5th is when this report is due. That's when another, by this September, we should see a lot more clarity, which interestingly enough is corresponding with some projections of the Ripple SEC lawsuit potentially settling by then as well. So September is going to be an important date for crypto. I'm just going to say that right now. And here's what they're saying the report is going to be. This is what all these different agencies are examining. The potential implications of the U.S. CBDC based on possible design choices. Basically, what technology we're using. How would it work? Is it going to be international interest? How would it help economic growth? The potential that it might have on financial inclusion, self-administered digital, private sector administered digital assets. So that's saying, how would they go between a central bank, digital currency, and having some kind of like private type, maybe stable coin or a gold-backed coin? Who knows? Precious metal-backed coin. The future of sovereign and privately produced money. And there's a lot that are going to be going over now. Let me actually scroll down and show you all the agencies that are going to be involved in it. So we see here the Director of the Office of Science and Technology Policy, Chief Technology Officer of the United States, Secretary of the Treasury, the Federal Reserve, other definite top agencies there, the CFPB, the Chair of the FTC. They're going to be involved, the chairman of the CFTC, the Federal Reserve, chairperson of the board of the directors, and the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. So all these folks, these top-end agencies that are going to be involved in this. Let's see here. They're going to have a lot of meetings here, but there's a lot of numerous agencies, and like the actual extent to what this will end up being, and who knows at the end of the day. I feel like there's going to be multiple agencies that are involved in this. It's not just going to be one particular agency that is going to have governing say over all of this. Paper is all, or I'm sorry, the space in general. I feel like there's going to be numerous or multiple ones, at least several ones. Like I said, if the SEC really butchers this Ripple case and loses, they could potentially lose enforcement action, which would mean there could be potentially other agencies that would be developed or even implemented. Maybe they don't even exist right now that would allow enforcement actions. So in general, there's a lot of good news. I feel like this is just going to give a lot of clarity, and they're wanting to make it easier for money to flow into this space. So overall, I feel like it's good wording. I feel like it's going to do a lot of space. It's just you and I, we have to be involved with our local, congressional members, state by state. If you're watching this and you're in another country, then get involved locally there with your law process. But definitely if you're here in the U.S., this is something to pay attention to, because we can have a say on this. We pressure your congressmen, congresswomen, pressure them to, allow sensible and enact sensible measures so that we can use these assets, so that we can still own them privately, so that we can own them on our own private keys, and we still have, a bastion of privacy and freedoms here that we can depend on, and still have safety and financial inclusion in this new economic system. So if you're holding any of those tokens that are involved in any of that green energy, involved in projects and companies that are helping the interoperability, this news, it was very, very exciting. So we're in the right place. It's just we have to be patient and continue to be patient, continue to learn, and watch out for what's happening. And again, September is going to be, I feel like if we haven't had any exciting news by September, if we haven't had a huge run by September, an increase, then if we trade sideways for several more months, multiple more months, I feel like once we have more clarity, that's when things are really going to get heated up here in the crypto space. So anyway, I'm going to wrap the video up at that. I appreciate all of you for watching. If you made it this far, hit a like button. It really does help me continue to push these videos out. I appreciate each and every single one of you, and I'll see you on the next video.